I can't believe it. And I can believe that we are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton, teamed up with Jason Shepard, and as we do every Monday during the college football season, we welcome the fabulous college football insider, analyst, and expert. He is a national champion. Trevor Match is back for another Matich Monday. Trevor, how was your weekend with BYU on bye and all of the carnage across college football?
It was insane. I mean, 5 of the top 11 teams lost. Alabama, number 1, lost not to Georgia. They lost to Vanderbilt, for goodness sake. It was absolutely crazy what happened. When you look at the way that Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, it wasn't that Bama just made a bunch of mistakes. They made a few. But Vanderbilt took advantage of every one of those mistakes, and then Alabama could not keep Vanderbilt's offense off of the field. The quarterback, Diego Pavia, transfer from New Mexico State, was a baller extraordinaire. Their first drive was a 10-play touchdown. Their second drive was a 17-play touchdown drive. Bama just had no answers for a mobile baller at quarterback, and it was an amazing thing to watch.
Was there anything else, Trevor, that happened this weekend that was a bigger surprise than that game, or is that the easy answer for the biggest surprise of the weekend?
You know, that to me is the biggest surprise, just because it was Vanderbilt, but Missouri comes in as a top 10 team, and they were absolutely obliterated by Texas A&M. And surprise, surprise, Texas A&M, I believe, is undefeated in the SEC. They are now a contender to make the SEC championship game, not just because of the record, but because of the way they've been playing. Miami, for the second week in a row, had a miracle comeback. You can say what you want about them falling behind so that they had to have a miracle comeback. But when it came down to it, Cam Ward, their quarterback, and the rest of that offense came alive, and it was just amazing to watch that. I know it broke the heart of a lot of Cal fans, but that was just incredible. Tennessee, the first time they were really tested was against Arkansas. Everybody else they played had holes in the roster or in their team. For example, Oklahoma's offense had epic injuries, and they weren't really able to keep up with Tennessee. But Arkansas was a grown man team. Arkansas hit Tennessee in the mouth and maybe exposed a little bit of their weaknesses. So there was so many revelations about teams that we thought were amazing that now all of a sudden we look at and say, okay, they're vulnerable. And that means the race for the conference championships and the race for the college football playoff just got far more fascinating.
Indeed, a perfect precursor to my next question for you, Trevor, which is, as you zoom in and look at the Big 12 with all of the parity that has existed there. In fact, all 5 teams that received first-place votes in the preseason coaches poll have a loss already in Big 12 play, and it's Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, and West Virginia that are the unbeaten teams. I know it's early, but already some parity. What do you think of what's happening in the Big 12 as it pertains to getting into the college football playoff and the unexpected right now?
You know, we thought coming into the season that the Big 12 would be the most fun conference race because there was no clear dominant team, and there were as many as 9 teams picked by members of the media preseason that had a chance to win the conference. But who'd have thought those 5 would be the leaders right now at this point of the season? And the leaders, Kansas State, well, they lost to BYU. They still, I think, are the favorite to win the conference, but that was, to a lot of people, a shocking loss. Oklahoma State came in with a veteran offensive line, veteran quarterback, and an All-American running back in Ollie Gordon, and the offense has disappeared for Oklahoma State. Now, it might reemerge, but it's disappeared so far. That's a shock. And then Colorado, you know, they lost that game to Nebraska, but they've won some miracle games as well. They've clearly gotten better. And with their quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, and their all-purpose superstar, Travis Hunter, they've got skill to be able to keep up with anybody as long as they can give Shedeur time to throw. So, and BYU was projected to win, 4 or 5 games preseason, and all of a sudden they're 5-0. And so that is also a shock to a whole lot of people. Coming into this last weekend, there were only 2 teams in the nation that had 3 wins over Power 4 conference opponents. One of those was Notre Dame, the other BYU. And 2 of those wins, SMU right now is considered one of the favorites to get to the ACC championship game. They've only lost 1 game. Kansas State is considered a favorite to get to the Big 12 championship game. They've only lost one game. Those losses, BYU. Nobody else has beaten SMU or Kansas State. So BYU might be the biggest shocker of them all.
Yeah, and then consider this. In the wins against ranked opponents, currently ranked opponents, BYU's defense has given up a combined 0 touchdowns to Kansas State and SMU. Trevor, make it make sense. This is crazy.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because of the beauty of chaos, the joy of havoc. That's what BYU's defense is about. They have multiple schemes where they can go man coverage and then zone coverage the next time. And then zone coverage that looks one way, it turns out to be a different kind of zone coverage. They'll disguise it so it looks like one, it becomes another. The corners are so good at locking down that they're able to attack the line of scrimmage much more than they really could last year. And so the havoc at the line of scrimmage has been great. The defensive front is more multiple now. It's not just Tyler Batty getting double teamed and everybody else watching the show. Now you've got multiple guys on that defensive front that are pushing the pocket, that are winning one-on-one pass rush battles, that are causing problems, and that frees up Tyler Batty to cause problems as well. Not just sacks. It's not just about sacks. It's about making the quarterback uncomfortable. You put all this together, and if you're an offense, you get back on your heels and they just keep coming and coming and coming. It's like not just one fire hose, it's like 3 fire hoses from 3 different directions at all times coming at you. That's what the BYU defense is.
We'll get to the specific matchup, Trevor, against Arizona, because I'm fascinated by this game coming up on Saturday. But BYU, a byproduct of beating Arizona on Saturday, would mean BYU picks up its 6th win and is officially bowl eligible. With all of the negativity from the outside looking in at this BYU team coming into the season, what would it mean for this team specifically? What is the significance of this team getting to bowl eligibility and 6 wins in Game 6 if that happens?
It would be validation. I mean, this is going to be a tough win. I mean, if they're able to beat Arizona, it would be a quality win for BYU. This is not a gimme in any stretch. But considering what happened last year, you know, that losing streak at the end of the season when it looked so obvious they were going to make a bowl last season, getting that locked in, I think would be validation. And that validation is what the coaches have been talking to the players, what the team leadership have been saying to the other players in the locker room about do the work, do the things we're asking you to do, believe that we're doing the right things, and it will pay off. And that's all vapor until you see it. But when you see it, then all of a sudden it becomes concrete. And keep this in mind that BYU is in their 2nd year of recruiting to a Power 4 conference, or Power 5, a power conference. And that means that the guys that are there, the transfers that came in, the depth that was developed last year when they had so many injuries, everybody is learning how to compete in practice. The competition in practice is better. And all that put together, getting to bowl eligibility, validates everything that they've been doing. And when we have validation, the belief grows even more.
It's another Matich Monday on BYU Sports Nation with Trevor Matich of ESPN. I'm not sure what to make of Arizona after their performance at home against Texas Tech and that following a shocking upset road win at Utah. So, Trevor, with that in mind, how does BYU stack up against an offense that certainly has some firepower but hasn't exactly, quote unquote, hit on all cylinders in this or during the course of this season?
Arizona's offense is scary. They're still scary. When they do hit on all cylinders, they're tough to stop. And we know about Noah Fafita, their quarterback, and Tetaroa McMillan, one of the best receivers in the country. Those guys are hard to stop. One of the best QB wide receiver combinations in all of college football. McMillan, part of the reason he's so good is that he is so precise with his routes. He doesn't just run out there and out athlete everybody. He messes with defensive backs with stems and with different kinds of cuts and different kinds of disguises with what he's doing with his routes. He's so hard to cover. And then when the ball comes in, you know, he's got a big catch radius. But the rest of the problem is that 3 different running backs for Arizona right now are averaging over 6 yards per carry. They can rotate through a deep stable of running backs and make the run game the first thing you have to focus on. So you can't just, you know, pin your ears back and go after the quarterback and disrupt the quarterback. So that balance is what makes them so difficult to stop.
All right, let's flip the question then, Trevor. BYU's offense versus the Arizona defense. What do you make of that matchup, and what do you think the BYU offense can do against the Wildcats on defense?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Apparently, LJ Martin, running back, is going to be back. I don't know how healthy he will be. I don't know how close to 100%, but he will be critical because Arizona's defense, if you can say there's a weakness, teams have been able to run the ball against them. Now, they had to play Texas Tech. They've played Utah. They've played teams that can run the ball. And so it's not just a weak spot. But if you can run the ball, you've been able to move the chains that way. The return of LJ Martin could be a huge factor in that. The thing you've got to watch out for is that Arizona's defense gets a lot of sacks and a lot of interceptions. And so they're extremely disruptive to the passing game, which is why it's so important for the BYU running game to be able to reemerge and be more effective than it's been with all the injuries. Nothing against the younger guys that have come in at running back. They've done some very, very good things. But this is big boy football, and BYU is going to need big boy running back production in order to keep the pressure off of the quarterback. Because as we know, Jake Retzloff, there's times when he can throw the ball to the other side if he's under pressure. Now, he's a lot better at that this year, but let's not find out how much better he is by not being able to run the ball.
Trevor, you are a big part of college football media and what goes into that with your role at ESPN. There are clearly some big national spotlights on BYU right now because they're undefeated, and they've got a big-time crew coming in to call their game on Saturday. So what would you say to BYU as they prepare at 5-0 with the increased national spotlight right now?
I would say just stay focused on the next play, the next rep. And that's what they've done such a good job of this year. But really, that's what it is. I mean, when you look at Miami last week, Miami had all the love and all the glory on them. They had a big comeback win over Virginia Tech, not this last week, but the week before they played Cal on Saturday. Their quarterback was being loved up on as a Heisman frontrunner, and deservedly so. College game day came to their following game, which was at Cal this last week. Game day wasn't there because of the home team. They were there because of Miami. And all the while, you've got Cal lying in the weeds with a really disruptive defense, with a really good rushing attack, plotting ways to take Miami down, and they almost did it. The worst thing BYU could do over the course of their bye week would be to read the press clippings about how great they are. The best thing they can do, the only thing they can do, is focus on the next rep in practice and treat that rep like the national championship depended on how well they did that rep in practice, and just stack those together day after day. And then when they get to the game, same kind of thing. Don't just assume that, hey, we're undefeated and Arizona's not, and we're better and we're just going to win. No, they have to treat every play in that game as if that play, the national championship, dependent on it. And if they have that kind of focus, that kind of urgency, and if they take care of the football, then they'll be okay. So that's what I would tell them. Don't be thinking about how good you are right now. You be thinking about how you can get better in the next 1 minute.
Wise words from Trevor Matich. As always, we appreciate the time during a busy season for you, Trevor, and we're so grateful to have you part of BYU Sports Nation each and every week.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
Thanks,
ESPN's Trevor Matich, again, on BYU Sports Nation.